how to avoid having your shares taken away when selling covered calls. So remember, before you ever enter any options trade, please make sure you know how to close it. I'll pin a video in the comment section below where I show you guys how to close out of any options trade. Now, firstly, I want to quickly talk about covered calls and how they work for those of you who are not familiar with covered calls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ticker symbol SQ for today's video. The reason I want to use SQ is because if we take a look here in the last week, SQ is up 23%, and a lot of other stocks are the same. They went up 20-30% in the past week. A lot of people that sold covered calls on these stocks in the last week are probably going to have their shares taken away because that's a pretty big move. And so what I'm going to show you guys here today, hopefully will prevent that from happening in the future. Okay, so firstly, what are covered calls? So let's go into the options here for SQ. So when it comes to covered calls, there are two things that need to be done. Number one, you need to own at least 100 shares of the stock. So let's just pretend that I own 100 shares of SQ right now. Number two, you need to sell a call using those 100 shares as collateral. That's a covered call. So let's say I have 100 shares of SQ. I would come into the options here. Now I would choose an expiration. Let's say I want April 1st just to get a little bit more premium here. The further out you go, the higher the premium is going to be on the options. And let's say I want to sell a call here again using the 100 shares as collateral. That's a covered call. So let's say I want to sell a call at the $150 strike. So if I sell this call, I'm going to get a premium, $305 or so right now for selling this call. And the way this works is that there's two things that can happen on the expiration date. So either SQ will be at $150 per share or less. If that happens, this will expire worthless. I just made $305 and I can sell another call the following week or whenever I want. If though this stock is above the strike of the call I'm selling, so if it's above $150, then I'm going to have to sell my 100 shares for $150 a share. I still keep the premium, $300 or so, but my shares are going to get taken away. And the problem, like I just showed you guys, is if the stock goes up 20-30% in a week and you sold your call not that high up, you're going to miss out on a lot of potential profit. And of course, you're also going to lose your shares, right? And so that's basically what we want to cover here is how can we avoid that? So first thing I want to do here is I want to actually go to option strat and I want to go to build and I want to go to covered call just so that we can visually see what this looks like here. Again, I think it's very important to always use option strat before you enter any trade. So again, we're saying we're buying 100 shares right now for $138.91. We're going out to April 1st. We're selling a call using these 100 shares as collateral. And I'm going to sell my call at the 150 strike. This is what it's going to look like right now. And so again, the issue is that any higher that it goes after 150, which is the strike of the call you sold, you're not making any additional money. And so if this stock makes another 23% move this week, like it did last week, you're missing out on a ton of profit. You're not making any money between 150 and 171. Okay, and so as you can see, your max profit is capped, 1,384, and of course, you're going to lose your shares. So that's the big problem here, right? Stocks sometimes rally a lot, causing us to miss out on a lot of gains here and basically lose our shares. So what we need to do is we need to avoid getting into the situation in the first place. And luckily, there is a very easy way to do that. So let's take a look at what you can do then to avoid having your shares taken away when selling covered calls and missing out on a ton of potential profit. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go back to the stock. So two important things you always need to check here. Number one is commission fees. We're going to be opening and closing multiple contracts here. You might be doing this every single week. And if you're on a broker with high commission fees, that might eat away at a lot of your profit. Robinhood doesn't have any commission fees, so I don't have to worry about it on here. Second thing is we're going to be selling options. Anytime you sell an option, there is risk of assignment. We want to avoid being early assigned due to the ex-dividend of a stock. So you should always check, does the stock have a dividend? If it does, when is the ex-dividend date? You want to avoid selling options on the week of the ex-dividend date. If you do, you want to close out 2 days before. So remember, we can always go to NASDAQ.com and check here. So we'll search up SQ, which I've already looked up over here. So I'll click on there. And then on the left, we can go to dividend history here. And then this will show us if the stock has a dividend, and if it does, when the ex-dividend date is. Now, SQ doesn't have a dividend, so I wouldn't have to worry about that at all. So once you've checked those two things, you can actually go into the options here. So again, you need to have at least 100 shares of the stock here. Choose a proper expiration. I'm just going to choose April 1st, the same expiration I chose for that earlier example. And then again, we're still going to sell a call here using the 100 shares as collateral. So I'm going to switch to sell, call. I'm still going to sell the same call that I showed you guys earlier. So I'll sell this call right here. But again, the problem here is that if, SQ makes another 20% jump this next week, we're going to lose our shares. We're going to miss out on a ton of profit. We want to avoid getting into that situation in the first place. So here's what we're going to do. So now I'm going to switch over to buy, okay? We're going to buy a call, and we're going to buy a call with a higher strike now. So I'm going to buy the call at the $155 strike. So you're still going to get into this for a credit, for a premium. Basically, what you're doing now is you're getting into a call credit spread, also known as a bear call spread. And so let me just quickly show you what this is going to look like. So let's go over here to the bear call spread calculator. Let's do a SQ here for block. And then we're using April 1st. So again, I'm selling a call at 150, and then now I just bought a call with a higher strike at 155. So you're still getting a credit. And the way a bear call spread works, remember, is you're going to make your max profit if the stock price is below the strike of the call you sold. So if SQ is below 150 on the expiration, I'm going to make my max profit of $111. That's how a covered call works as well, right? You sell a call and you want the price of the stock to be below the strike of the call you sold to make your max profit. And so this is very similar to that, right? And so what's going to happen here if the stock explodes now 20%, 30% next week? Well, you're going to have a loss on this bear call spread, right? Which would be $389. So you're going to lose money on this bear call spread now, but not nearly as much as how much you're going to make on your 100 shares of the stock. So let's actually take a look at that now. So let's go to a new option strat tab. Let's go to build and let's go to covered call again. And so again, we're using SQ here, block. We chose April 1st as our expiration. So again, we need at least 100 shares of the stock. We're still selling a call at the 150 strike, but then we're also buying a call at the 155 strike. So with a higher strike than the call we're selling, we're still getting into this for a credit. So you're still getting a premium. You're still collecting premium every single week or bi-weekly, whatever you prefer. But now let's compare this to the regular covered call that I showed you guys. So here's the regular covered call. Let me just refresh this here. So remember, over here, our max profit was $1,305. If SQ made a giant move, 23% move like we saw last week till 172, as you can see, up 23%, that's still only the most you're going to make, $1,305. Well, now let's take a look here at this strategy that I'm showing you guys here. If now SQ jumps up 23%, right, what's going to happen? Well, now here, we're going to make $2,818. It's a lot more money, isn't it? Right? Versus $1,300. Now we're making almost, $2,900 here by doing this, right? So this, as you can see now, our max profit, it's no longer capped. It's infinite now. Why? Because now we turn this, we're basically, instead of selling a call, we're selling a bear call spread. A bear call spread, you want the stock price to stay below the strike of the call you sold, similar to when you sell a call. But by doing this bear call spread, now we still keep our shares if the price of the stock shoots way past the strike of the call we sold, because we have this call that we're buying here. So now, as you can see, you no longer have to worry about the stock exploding, right? If you just similarly to when you sell a call, right? If you sell a call over here and the stock doesn't do anything, it trades sideways, it stays below this strike, you make your premium. That's still the same case over here, right? If it stays below the strike of the call you're selling here, you're still making a premium. But now you're protected if the stock explodes. If it goes up 23%, well, guess what? You're still going to be able to make money no matter how much higher it goes. You're going to continue to make money. Versus when you sell this call here, now you're capping your profit. You're going to lose your shares, right? So ultimately, this is how you would basically avoid having your shares taken away and missing out on a ton of profit. You still sell your call, but then you want to buy a call with a higher strike. You're going to get less premium, but you're still going to make premium you're still going to, generate profit from the premium every single week. But now if we see something like we saw last week where stocks go up 20-30% in 1 week, you don't have to worry about missing out on that profit. You don't have to worry about losing your shares. Okay, so anyways, guys, that is how you avoid having your shares taken away, missing out on a ton of profit if you're selling covered calls. If you guys have any questions about anything I just talked about, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Check out the Discord, link to it in the description below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys next time.